LTJ Bukem is a British drum and bass musician, DJ and producer and label owner. He became a DJ in the late 80s and he gained fame in the rave scene in the 90s. He's known more for his production work than his solo music creation work. He has released one solo album, but he has released 9 compilation/mix albums. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a compilation album by Mr. Bukem of talent that is signed to his label. I don't know how much he was doing the production for most or all of this. So there's tracks by several people, but it includes 4 by LTJ Bukem. And the descriptions that I found seem to kind of reckon that this is somewhere in the cross between jungle and drum and bass. Now, excuse me, I don't actually know. I'm not very good at being able to distinguish these different genres here. So apparently this was around the point where drum and bass emerged as a genre out of jungle. Okay, but let's try and do some description of what it's like. So the focus here, to quite a large extent, is some fast drum breaks. They're sometimes sporadic. I believe they're sampled rather than sequenced. And it feels like all the tracks on this album are pretty much the same speed, with this quite fast drum break. Sometimes there's drops, which means that the drums don't go. There's actually, I think, the same sample pattern being used several times in several songs. Along with this, then there's often a bass going on, a deep electronic bass, and some ambient backing, and maybe some other stuff that comes in and out, other little percussive elements that happen through, usually over a period of 2 bars. It happens kind of once, and you get this kind of 2-bar pattern. But it's evolving. It kind of evolves in the same way that ambient does, but it's obviously got a lot more energy because of these drum breaks that are being used. Some of the tracks have got vocal samples in them. There's at least one with a rapper in. I can't remember if there was 2. They're quite long tracks, quite long mixes. I think the longest one maybe 10 minutes. And some of them are mixed so that it goes directly from one into the other, so they're kind of segued into the next track. And it becomes one just kind of big continuum of this stuff with these drum breaks and all the backing going on. It's a double CD when it was originally released. It's a long album. I haven't been able to. I couldn't be bothered to actually add it all up, and Wikipedia doesn't list an album length like it often does. So if you're a fan of this drum and bass stuff, this is heaven. It's huge. I reckon about 2 hours, maybe a bit more, as worth of a kind of continuous state of this. This could be, I don't know how long dance sets go on, but it could be a whole dance set, this. If you're an interested bystander, which is, I think, probably would be where I put myself, it's too much, really. There's too much of it. It just goes on, and after a while, the fact that it's this kind of stuttery beat that's going on, it gets a little bit irritating. I did find it easier if I was doing other things. It actually, because it's so long, it played out over several commutes for my first listen through in the car. I found that it was kind of energetic music, and it made me want to drive in a kind of decisive and maybe slightly a zoomy way. Of course, I would never break the speed limit. And I would say I particularly liked one of the tracks, which is called Danny's Song. I quite liked just the additional elements that were in there and the kind of placings of things. I kind of quite got into trying to work out where everything was as I was listening to it. So apparently this is a really pivotal album for drum and bass. I can well believe that as a listening experience. it's okay, but it's a bit much for me. If you're, as I said before, if you're really into this stuff, this might be your idea of a really good time to stick this on a pair of headphones and lie back in a dark room and just kind of soak it all in. Or apparently people dance to this stuff. I've no idea how with a drum break that's that fast, but yeah, maybe some people just like to dance really fast. Anyway, that's my opinion. And if you have an opinion about this album or about my review, I'd love to hear from you. Please write a comment in the comments box. And that's it from me for now.